Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Suzuka circuit here in Japan. We are here live for round number 7 of the Flashpoint Tier 1 Racing League, and what an evening we have of racing ahead of us this evening. We've got a very close championship battle up at the top. Unfortunately, no Limitless here this evening, so the championship, more likely than not, will be extended. But we should have a very interesting race on our hands. Before we get into the swing of things in qualifying, let's take a look at our championship standings. You can see it's NSX Selly who is leading ahead of Limitless in second. Cucumber then 2 points behind Limitless in third, with Gatkovsky in fourth. Volcano in fifth, with Carl in sixth position. Jamie then in seventh, with Spanias in eighth. Marius in ninth, with Montana then in 10th position. It is, of course, Suzuka where we are here this evening. This should be a very exciting qualifying and race. My name is Evan Dalton. Hope you are enjoying your Wednesday evening. It's going to get a lot better if you are here watching Flashpoint Racing League. This should be a good one, hopefully, ladies and gentlemen. You can see yellow flags already. It's a very difficult 5.821 kilometre circuit, 3.617 miles if you're from the United Kingdom or the United States of America, with a lap record of 1 minute 30.983. That belongs to Lewis Hamilton. Make sure to vote in our poll in the stream chat on who you think is going to take qualifying. Currently, Other is winning with 67%, Volcano picking up 33% of the vote, but should be a very interesting race. If my microphone audio is a little bit too low, I will try to fix it as we go along here this evening. I've had many an issue with it the past few days, so hopefully we can try fix that, but still should be a very interesting qualifying nonetheless. It's Marius who we're currently on board with, but he's not the first man going to set a lap. That's going to be Gatkovsky, who's been getting his practice in since about 5 o'clock. You can see him running a yellow and green helmet that's very similar to the great Lewis Hamilton has ran before, or Ayrton Senna, but of course he's in a Mercedes, so you would think that it's more likely than not going to be Lewis Hamilton. But let's see then how this one goes, as Gatkovsky is heading down towards the famous left-hander of 130R. He is going to be the first man to tackle this Suzuka circuit here in qualifying. We have 15 minutes to go. No one starting a lap just yet. It is going to be Gatkovsky, the first man to do so, as he heads down towards the Casio triangle, and he's going to exit the corner of turn number 18 and then 19 here, this sweeping right-hander, which is flat out in all conditions. Gatkovsky gets us underway for qualifying, heading down towards turn number 1. It is a late braking zone here on that curb on the right-hand side, then rotating the car in. Let's see what he can do here, then heading up towards the S's section, a flick into the left and in towards the right, and up towards this left-hander now. Very decent for the first sector for the Polish native, as he heads up towards the Dunlop curb of turn number 7. Next up, it's the two Deckner curves of turn number 8 and 9. Flicks in on the right-hand side. 31 flat in the first sector for Gatkovsky. That's not too bad at all. And, of course, we got to wait for a couple of laps to trick in. Bit of a rear slide heading in towards the hairpin. He's got to be careful on that for maybe old tires in the races. Oh, Montana, actually a fast flyer here. He's got off and has set the first lap of the day, a 1:26.355. We do actually have some laps in here. Mavros goes to third. Spanias then improves and goes to second position. Next is going to be Iger Jellan, who is just getting his qualifying underway. Here comes Cucumber. That's going to be good enough for third spot for Cucumber. He wasn't able to topple Montana. Of course, make sure to get your poll votes in the stream chat. Here comes Gatkovsky then, heading down towards the right hander of the Casio triangle, rotates it in third gear, and then short shifting up to fourth. No, doesn't go for the short shift. He's comfortable enough in his traction. Heading down towards the start finish line, Gatkovsky goes to second within a tenth of a second of the pole sitter Montana. Next up is going to be the Alfa Romeo Sauber in the background. You can see across the start finish line. That's just actually starting a lap. Marius then jumps up to sixth position. It's going to be VIR Dark then next across the start finish line. He jumps up to sixth position. There's an Alfa Tauri in the background. You can see pull along to the left hand side. That's Stefano, who goes to 8th position. Then it's Zorzo. No, it's not Zorzo. It's the other Aston Martin, Volcano, who goes quickest. Onto pole position goes Volcano. There goes Rudy to start his next attempt in qualifying. It's going to be Kingsman next across the start finish line. You can see him here now pulling towards the timing beam. That's only good enough for 11th, unfortunately. Let's see what Zorzo can do as he heads down towards the start finish line. That's going to be good enough for 9th, pardon me. Decent run there for Zorzo. Next is going to be Walcott across the start finish line. He jumps up Yeah, I say jumps up. It's the slowest of the timed runners so far for Walcott. Unfortunate there. It's going to be Iger Jelen then the next man across the start-finish line. Full Polish lineup, of course, in that Mercedes team. Iger Jelen jumps up to 11th, 9/10 of a second off pole position. It's Cucumber who is actually out of the session. Is that a crash on circuit? I can't quite tell. I think it might. Oh, he's hit the pit wall. Oh, he's hit the pit wall. That's not good for Cucumber. He has clattered into the pit wall. You can see his car removed. But the Alpine, who's fifth and was one of the favourites maybe for pole here this evening, he's crashed into the pit wall on his way in from his opening lap. And that's going to be that. Oh, that's unlucky. That's really unlucky for Cucumber. Please do let me know in the stream chat if my microphone audio is okay, because I've been having a few issues with it, so do let me know if it is okay. We can see the two Aston Martins running in formation. Here comes Rudy to the start-finish line. That's going to be 13th for him, 1.039 off pole position, and a little bit... he's going to need a little bit more, potentially, if he wants to try and take even a top 10 start, really. He's 0.2 of a second off Stefano in 10th position. So he's got a bit more work to do there. Zorzo going in ninth, but currently it's his teammate Volcano who's on top in this qualifying session. Montana's out in his outlap. He's heading in towards turn number 1 and 2 for Williams. Montana, of course, likes to drive that Williams car an awful lot, and he's been very successful in it in the past. And Rudy in 13th now as well in the Williams, of course. Selly, though, our championship leader, has not got a time on the boards yet. He's on one now. Let's ride on board through Degner curves. Just passes the hats on the left-hand side. It's a purple sector 2 for Selly, 110.2. Let's see what the AlphaTauri can do then as he heads down towards the Casio triangle. Late braking, flick it into the right-hander. And just hope you can get the traction off that final corner. Here comes Selly towards the start-finish line. Where is he going to go? It's going to only be good enough for 7th. Not necessarily what the Austrian might have wanted to start this evening's proceedings. He's looking to extend his championship lead, of course, with other drivers absent. But Selly goes to 7th. Very interesting. Montana's getting underway. Let's have a look at him through the first sector. Very solid through the first sector for Montana. He's got a Ferrari in front that he's going to hope is going to get out of the way. That's one of the Cypriot drivers. And Montana, he's backed off. He's backed off his lap here. He's 1.6 seconds down. So that Ferrari was okay to remain in the way pretty much. But no, he was just making sure he was being careful. But Montana does back off his lap. Here comes Laser, then heading through Spoon Curve. Let's see what the Haas can do as he accelerates out of the corner. A decent run that for Laser through Spoon Curve, but we're going to wait and see what the split time is, heading up towards 1:30 or 1... No, 1:13.1. He's way down, unfortunately, on his time. That's not going to be a real competitive run as we see Fight Me. We see Fight Me spins round, heading in towards the turn 10 hairpin. That's a bit of a weird spin. Seems like he just locked the brake and completely lost it. Yeah, weird spin for the McLaren there, but he's that's his lap done pretty much, unless he was 2 seconds or so up. Let's see then as Mavros flies up through the left-hander and in towards the Degner curve. 10th of a second up. Decent that from Mavros. He's looking to break into the top 3 here with that sort of pace. He's tracking for a 3rd spot, or there or thereabouts. Braking for the left-hander then, 3rd gear through turn number 10. Let's see what the Alpine can do as he accelerates up towards Spoon Curve. This right-hander can be treacherous in wet conditions. We're not too sure of what the conditions are for the race. But of course, will be the first report here in the live stream. Let's see. Mavros flicking it into the left-hander. What can the Alpine do? He accelerates that corner and down towards 130 or decent this so far from the Alpines. Got to pick up a bit of a toe for the Mercedes. Off comes up on that super quick. 0.3 of a second up for Mavros. A good final sector here. He could break into the front row of the grid even potentially. Break for the Casio triangle. Decent through there. No lockup for the Alpine. He's using fourth gear, utilising the high gears. Here is Mavros and down towards the start-finish line. Takes that shorter run to the line. That's third spot. Agonisingly close to Montana, but that's a very good run there for Mavros. Puts himself up to third. Gatkowski is improving in the first sector as well. Flicks it in there. That car looked like it was going out of control, but he keeps it pinned to the floor. It's almost on rails as that Mercedes. Probably running a lot of downforces. Gatkowski may struggle in a straight line, but here in Suzuka, of course, it's not an overly straight line speed dependent track. You can kind of get away with not being that quick on the straights. Keep an eye on Marius as well. He's backed off his time, so he's not on a lap. Let's stick with Gatkowski. Down towards turn 130R, improving by 0.136. Bit of time in this lap for Gatkowski, or at least he feels there is. It's the Polishman coming towards the start and finish line now. Can he find 2.5 of a second to take pole, or will it be the front row for Gatkowski? It'll be the front row. He actually lost a bit of time in that final sector, improved by just 1/10 of a second. There's an improvement from Stelios in the background, the Greek driver going up to 10th position. Zorzo then up towards 7th. That's a very nice run there for Zorzo, actually doing well. Mango improves to 9th. So Mango up into the top 10. We said he needed a bit more pace to break into that top 10. He's done that, and he's found more time. Rudy starting his next lap, or Iker Jelen is coming to finish his. He's improving by 0.6. So obviously the first lap was just an error, and Iker Jelen breaks into the top 10, up to 6th position exactly. There is the Haas of Laser, or Lazier. It's not quite Laser. Laser's with his head. Lazar in 18th. The Haas just flicks past the Mercedes, heading in towards the S-curves. Currently in our poll in the stream chat, we've had 4 votes, 3 for other, and 25% for CPI Volcano. So keep them coming in, and we'll see, can maybe Gatkowski or Montana steal pole from Volcano here in Suzuka? Volcano is in very high up in the time trial leaderboards around here in Suzuka. That's why he is one of the favourites. Heading in towards Degner 2. Montana slightly misses his apex on the inside, but that's nothing to be too worried about. There's a waved yellow here in the middle sector. That's for the slow Mercedes of Iker Jelen. Heading round through this right-hander. Doesn't get in the way of Montana, thankfully. The Swiss native still has plenty of room heading into the spoon curve and was able to keep on his outside line. He's looking to be in the 109s realistically here, heading down to 130 and he is in them, 109.8, so that's good for Montana, but he could do with finding a bit more time. Braking for the right-hander here. That's decent for the Casio triangle and pins the throttle well, does Montana. Here he comes towards the start-finish line. Montana is onto the front row of the grid, but he can't quite steal pole. The Williams Racing driver is up to 2nd here in Suzuka, but he's not quite on pole position. He's a little bit off as Iker Jelen trundles into pit lane. Selly as well doesn't finish his lap, heads into the pit lane. So Selly obviously wants to get one more lap at the end of this session. Of course, 3 minutes and 33 to go. Still a lot to go here in qualifying. Montana may not get another lap in, however. That could be Montana done for the session. As Marius comes out of the pit lane, or he's well out of the pit lane, he's heading towards Spoon Curve. Marius looking to try and take maybe a front row of the grid start here in qualifying. Maybe just looking to cement himself in the top 5. That wouldn't be bad for Marius. That's what he's looking to do, certainly, anyways, as there's a double-waved yellow in front. That's for Montana, who's heading to pit lane, but Marius getting ready to build up on a hot lap here. Let's see how the Greek driver, the Cypriot driver, apologies, not the Greek driver, he will kill me for saying that. the Cypriot driver, heading through the chicane now. Let's ride on board through the first couple of corners. Very solid through the S-curves for Marius. Very solid through the uphill left-hander of Dunlop. Now, let's see how he plays the Degner curves. Yeah, that's an unbelievable first sector for Marius. He was on the limit through there. Just that perfect amount. Taking grass when he had to. Taking a bit of curb here and there and avoiding it on the corners that you should. Excellent first sector for the Cypriot and Marius. Now heading down towards Spoon Curve. This is a really nice lap so far. There's a lot of potential in this one. And Marius could take pole position here in Suzuka. He would love to do that. Certainly would love to do that. And there's Fight Me Now in the Discord saying he's not too happy with how his pace is. Of course, last time out in Great Britain, Marius, of course, finished 8th spot. He's looking to improve on that here in Suzuka. And a pole would go a long way to making him feel good about himself. Heading into the Casio Triangle now. Is he able to steal it from Volcano here and become the first man to knock Volcano off his pedestal? Across the start-finish line. Oh, that's so close. 0.012. Marius just misses out on pole. Can his fellow GFO driver, Mavros, maybe steal it here? Can Montana even steal it? No, because he's in the pit lane. Gatkovsky will be looking to steal it as well. Spanius, his fellow Ferrari teammates, done pretty well. What can Spanius do heading up towards the hairpin? It was 6th in Silverstone for Spanius. Looking to go better again here in Suzuka. This is a great qualifying so far. This is fantastic action, and if you're enjoying it, make sure you do pop a like on the stream, subscribe here to Flashpoint Racing, because this has been an excellent qualifying so far. Here comes Spanius into the left-hander now of Spoon Curve. Just accelerating, looking to avoid those rumble strips on the right-hand side. Could be a bit of a slipstream in here, potentially, for Spanius. Iker Jelen starts his lap. Mavros just behind, as is Gatkovsky. Volcano on his lap as well. We need to keep an eye on all of them. But for now, we'll stick with Spanius. See, can he knock off Mavros off the top, or off the front row, I should say. Here comes Spanius, the complete qualifying for Scuderia Ferrari. Where can he go here? He's going to go to 6th. Not quite the high run for Marius. What can Mavros do across the line? That's got to be 3rd spot here in qualifying. Excellent job from Mavros. Let's keep an eye on Volcano as well. And Gatkovsky, and Iger Jelen's down. He's a 2nd down, so there won't be pole for Iger Jelen. What about Zorzo? Could he maybe even spring a surprise here as Marius pulls? And so does Volcano. So Volcano's done. It's all in the hands of Gatkovsky potentially here. He's just on the bubble. We'll have to wait and see how this 2nd sector goes from. But do keep an eye on Zorzo. No, don't. Because Zorzo hasn't validated. There goes Selly, championship leader, only to 9th. Not good enough for Selly. Stelios goes to 9th now. He jumps Selly. Keep an eye on Kingsman as well. Keep an eye on VIR Dark as well here in qualifying, as we see the 2 Mercedes working together. Iger Jelen is towing Gatkovsky to 130R. No, Dark into the pit lane. Let's keep an eye on Gatkovsky then. He's not improving by enough in the middle sector, but that tow would definitely help as a Ferrari pulled off to the left-hand side of the braking zone. Here comes Gatkovsky. Can the Polishman steal pole here in Suzuka from 5th to 1st? Is it possible? It is possible! Gatkovsky to pole here in Suzuka. That's an excellent conclusion to the session, and teamwork at its best. That was Iger Jelen towing Gatkovsky in towards 130R. That's given him pole position there. An excellent run from Gatkovsky, and he steals pole for the Japanese Grand Prix. An excellent conclusion to qualifying, and all of you who voted other in our qualifying poll have got that absolutely spot on, and it was other. It wasn't Volcano. He messed up his final run, and he's going to be kicking himself because his banker lap has put him 2nd on the grid. Imagine what his proper run would have done. But it's Gatkovsky on pole here in Suzuka. Here it is then, confirmation of qualifying. The pole time, 1:26.122 for Gatkowski. Volcano in second, with Marius in third. Mavros in fourth. Montana then in fifth. Spanius in sixth, and Iger Jelen in seventh. Zorzo takes 8th. Stelius in 9th. Selly then will be in 10th spot, with Cucumber in 11th. Mango starts from 12th, with Kingsman in 13th. Rudy then 14th. Stefano in 15th. Dark 16th. Walcott 17th. Lazier in 18th, and Fight Me Now in 19th spot. Not a good qualifying for McLaren, not a good qualifying for Haas, but we get ready to load into the race. Let's take a look at our track map, of course, for this. Oh no, hold on, let's take a look at the championship standings first. Selly on pole position, followed by Limitless in second, Cucumber then in third, Gatkowski fourth, and Volcano in fifth. Track map then for today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 5.821 kilometre circuit, 3.617 miles, with 18 corners and a lap record of 1 minute 30.983 is the lap record here in Suzuka. 48 gear changes per lap. The first F1 race here in 1987 saw Nigel Mansell suffer a heavy crash in qualifying and rule him out of the race, handing the title to Nelson Piquet. One title rival in 1987 in Suzuka, one title rival here today, but Selly has not qualified well. Let us know down below your predictions for this Grand Prix. It certainly should be a good one. As we are getting ready to go on the grid here for the Japanese Grand Prix. Ferrari won 5 in a row here from 2000 to 2004. 4 by Michael Schumacher, but they haven't won since. The Ferrari drivers of Marius and Stelios have qualified very well here this evening, so do keep an eye on that one. Here we go then. 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we go racing here in Japan. Very good start from Gatkowski off pole position. A very good start there from Volcano as well. They're clearing towards turn number 1. Mavros and Marius side by side. The Cypriot and the Greek, and Marius losing more spots here to Montana, who's trying it around the outside. It's a beautiful sunny day here as we head into the S-curves for the first time. Iger Jelen looking to make up a spot on Spanius as well. In the background, Cucumber making moves on Rudy and Kingsman, and Dark as well, already up 2 spots to 14th. He started on the softs, and there's a bit of traffic jam heading up the Dunlop curb, but they're all safely through here on the opening lap. That's an excellent race start from Mango as well, who's looking to try and get up the inside of Cucumber. Cucumber goes a bit too deep, heading through the Degner curve. He's onto the gravel, and the Red Bull has to avoid up the front. Mavros and Volcano side by side in towards the hairpin at turn 10 for the first time. Mavros now on the outside being pushed onto the grass. Volcano fighting for this spot here in Japan. Can he try and get the job done? Round the outside, heading in towards Spoon Curve. This is sketchy on the opening lap, but Volcano is going to lead this battle, heading on towards the back straight. Mavros is going to have to just sit behind for the time being. He's up 1 spot, your biggest gainer on the opening lap. That is both McLarens, both up 3 spots of Dark and Fight. Now, here comes Marius, looking for the move on Volcano. He doesn't go Fernando Alonso style and tried up the inside in towards 130 or he thinks the better of it, and is going to sit behind in towards the Casio triangle, pardon me. Zorzo behind Spanius now as well, looking to try and get the job done, but not going to get it done for the time being. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. That's the McLaren of Fight, who made up all the progress, who has fallen down the order, and there goes Mavros up past Volcano for the race lead here in Suzuka. You can see the tyres on the left hand side. It's hards for Gatkowski. It's mediums for Mavros and Volcano. Marius on the hards with Montana, Spanius, Zorzo, Iger Jelen, Selly also on the hard tyre. Mango going for the mediums. Stelius on the hards. Rudy, Dark, Cucumber, soft. Stefano, hards, and then mediums for Kingsman, and then hards for Lazier. Fight Me Now, and Walcott. Walcott's gone round through the S-curves. He is off the track, unfortunately, and now 5.4 seconds adrift. Unfortunate there for the Haas, but that's how the cookie crumbles. We're bound to lose a few people heading through the S-curves on the opening sort of laps. Here comes Dark and Cucumber side by side. There's a real kerfuffle in the back here in the mid-pack, and Dark looking to try and get past Stelius. Can he get the job done? No, he cannot. And that is him off the track. And can he get a catch back up in towards the spoon curve? Yes, he can. This soft tyre is working well for Dark as he overtakes Stelius on the hard tyres, and that is him up and through. And look at this, all side by side in front, Mango and Rudy. My goodness me, was that a move? And trying it around the outside is Rudy, who goes off and round, heading for the Casio triangle, and it looks like there is other cars involved in that one as well. Mango survives, Rudy has to go straight across the gravel, went a bit too hot in towards the Casio triangle of turn number 16. And that's, unfortunately, a big loss in time for him. He's down the order here in Flashpoint Racing. If you're enjoying the action, of course, here in the early stages, make sure to pop a subscription on the YouTube channel and like the stream as well, of course. Gatkowski, though, comfortable up the front. He's got a lot of pace here because he's on the hard tyre and still extending the gap from Mavros in second, Volcano in third, with Marius in fourth. And then it's Montana in 5th position. The Williams doing an excellent job here, you gotta say. He's keeping it ahead of Spanius, who he thought had better pace, arguably, than Montana. But no, doing an excellent job is Montana in 5th spot to keep it on the hard tyres. And then it's Zorzo 7th. Iger Jelen is up to 8th. Selly remains in 9th. So still not looking like it's the best of pace for Sally, but let's see, can Mavros gain on Gatkowski down towards 130R? He didn't get the exit initially, but did gain in towards the Casio triangle, so Mavros now in second spot. Mango and Dark battling here for 10th. Mango has another go on a driver in towards the Casio triangle, and the Red Bull is now up to 10th. Oh, that's not physically possible, I don't think, but look, battle for the change for the race lead. Mavros sails through, power of the straight line speed and DRS. We said Gatkowski was running a lot of downforce, and oh, is he having some internet issues maybe? We saw a bit of a lag spike in the middle of the corner there. He might be having a few issues. It seemed like Mavros got past very easy. Not sure that Gatkowski actually did defend that spot really too much, because he's down to second and is losing time. He didn't really seem to want to stay in front of Mavros potentially. I'm unsure, and we will see what happens now as Marius in 4th, Montana in 5th, still just keeping up with the Cypriot in front of him. Well, what can Gatkowski do? Can he get back past, heading down towards the Casio triangle, or maybe even in towards turn number 1? Lap 4 or 5? Oh, lap 4 or 5? Lap 4 going on to lap 5. It's lap 4 out of 27. If you're that interested, of course, you can see the lap counter on the top left corner of your screen. But lap 4 or 5, and I've said it again, it's lap 4 going on to lap 5, and they're all very racy here in Flashpoint Tier 1. Is Gatkowski going to try go up the inside of the Casio triangle? No, he's not. Just going to sit behind. Although he's running a very similar helmet to the great hit in Senator Silva's, he's not gone for the same move into the Casio triangle, because he's got the exit of turn number 19. And he's got the job done. Heading in towards turn number 1, Cucumber fast lap of the Grand Prix. He's in 10th spot. Of course, we saw Cucumber DNF in the early parts of qualifying, and there's a car off in the back. That is Fight Me Now, who's gone off through the final corner. And unfortunately, the only thing he's fighting is to keep his car on the circuit, and he's into the pit lane, and that's the end of the race for Fight Me Now, unfortunately. He is out of the Grand Prix. Extra position for Walcott, who made a pit stop and carried on here in the race, so fair play to Walcott for doing that. All audio on your microphone and muted. Thank you very much for telling me that, PlayStation. You can still hear me, of course, because I'm streaming through my laptop, but random notifications are the best, and there's a yellow flag in the first sector. That is just for the retired car of Fight Me Now. You can see Marius getting close to the back of Volcano, heading in towards the spoon curve, lap 5 at 27 now. We should see pit stops around the 13 and 14 mark. That's probably when we're going to get them, but let's see. Can Mavros gain on Gatkowski? Seems like he's fallen back a little bit on this lap. Oh, Volcano's going to go for the Mavros. Mavros has lost of time, and the Aston Martin goes to the outside of the Casio triangle. Can he make this work? So had to force his way through a little bit, and the Alpine gets all on the curb, and there's a bit of contact between the pair of them. Round the outside goes Volcano. Was like they're in slow motion off that corner, and that's allowed Marius to go up the inside. Free abreast, heading into a corner that usually can't handle two. Here we go, the Aston Martin, bit of contact with himself, and the Alpine, the Ferrari goes through. Volcano has to go way off the circuit. Rudy is out of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately for him, he's given up, and the NL Orman is out of the race. It's Gatkowski who leads from Mavros, who leads from Marius, who leads from Montana, who leads from Volcano here in this race. Spanius is in 6th, Orzo 7th, Iker Gel in 8th, Selly 9th, Cucumber in 10th spot. Oh, that was an interesting battle. Heading in towards turn number 1, Volcano had to go way off the circuit. Not really too sure why. It seemed like he was almost running up the back of the Aston Martin in front of him. Oh no, he is the Aston Martin, apologies. Up the back of the Alpine in front of him. And he's down to 5th spot. Mavros in 2nd, staying ahead of Marius. Montana then gaining a spot due to the Aston Martin having to veer off the circuit. But Gatkowski is comfortable at the front of this one. He leads by 1.3 seconds. Good to see so much cheering for the GFO boys in the chat. They're running a very solid race here. Mavros 2nd, Marius 3rd, Spanius 6th. It's all going swimmingly for them. But here comes Marius. They're now starting a inter-team battle. The Ferrari doesn't go up the inside, but does nudge the back of that Alpine gearbox. He's got to be careful with that. Oh, out of control goes Mavros. Oh my goodness me, that was a tank slapper on the edge of the corner. And Marius sneaks through. Montana is going to capitalise on this one as well. Tucks in behind the Ferrari and gets in line. Montana is back on to a Flashpoint Racing podium here in Suzuka. Marius is up to 2nd. Mavros, he might need a change of trousers after that one, because my goodness me, was that an unpredictable moment for him, as unfortunately for one GFO boy, it's not going as well for the other 3. Stelios is the 3rd man to retire from this Grand Prix, and that's unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo. He is out. And it's another position for Walcott. So he'll be chuffed at least. Montana, and Marius, I should say, ahead of Mavros and Volcano, maybe indicating that the hard tyres are performing better at this stage in the Grand Prix than the mediums. Because Mavros and Volcano, of course, were 2nd and 3rd at the point. But that medium seems to just be struggling. We saw Volcano have his moments. We saw Mavros struggling with pace a little bit, and he was falling down the order. And then we saw that tank slapper on the exit at turn 18. Yellow flag in the first sector. That's just for Stelios' car, pulled to one side, and unfortunate for the Greek driver. He's out of the race in the early phases. Not really what he wanted. He wanted to try build off previous results. And you can see now heading down towards turn number 1. Volcano right on the back of Mavros. He's looking to get revenge past his fellow medium runner. And he does get that job done. Not going to be fought too fiercely by Mavros. And Mavros is down to 5th spot. And it seems like he could just be struggling for pace at this point in this Grand Prix. It's Gatkowski who leads. Marius backward in DRS. Marius making things very interesting here in Suzuka. It's all getting a bit spaced out up the front here in this race. It's 8 tenths between Marius and Gatkowski, 7 between Montana and Marius, and then 8 back to Volcano, and then Marius, or Mavros, I should say. All the Greek and Cypriot names are throwing me off a bit now, but Mavros is looking to keep up with Volcano, and he is doing it. We should start to see some pit stops soon for Cucumber and Dark. They're on a 7-lap old softs, respectively. They might start to take a trip to pit lane in the foreseeable future. And you can see Iger Gatkowski. We said he might be having some internet issues. He has left the session. His teammate is looking to attack Zorzo, but Gatkowski is out of the session. That's unfortunate for him. Gatkowski is out of the lead of this race. Iger Gelon up to 7th. You can see Marius is ferociously gaining on the Mercedes because of the internet issue for Gatkovsky. Marius now leads the Japanese Grand Prix. Gatkovsky is going to fall down the order. Oh, he's been saved. He's been saved by a virtual safety car. That's for Iger Jelen, I think. Iger Jelen's no front wing. His teammate causing the virtual safety car saved him. Oh, what's gone on here? What has gone on there? It seems like there's a bit of a mix-up here in the middle of the pack. Volcano should definitely be in front of these cars unless he spun or something happened to him. They're all just backing up here through the Dunlop curve. And oh, championship leader. Drive-through penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Selly, the championship leader, has a drive-through. One of these Aston Martins is going to have to pull off the circuit here. That's how you have to overtake. You have to pull off the circuit. And Montana's involved in this as well. We go racing once again here in Suzuka. That was very confusing. Montana's wide, heading through turn 10. Had to let the cars through. Gatkovsky joins back. In reality, he's not going to lose much because of this, because of that mishap under the virtual safety car. It was all kicking off here. They all really were in positions they shouldn't have been in and were trying to overtake each other, but one overtaking the other gave the other a yellow, and then next, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Gatkovsky not even going to fall out of DRS because of that. He's been saved by his teammates' misfortune. The Mercedes of Iger Jelen had a crash, brought out the virtual safety car, caused all that carnage in the middle of the pack, and has allowed Gatkovsky to stay in second and within DRS in this race. Volcano is into the pit lane. Presumably, he has front wing damage. Selly, of course, remember, has to serve his drive-through penalty. He's into the pit lane. Here comes Manco, looking up the inside of Montana in towards turn number 1. Couldn't quite get it done. Montana's going to be a man on a mission after losing so much time under the virtual safety car. Zorzo in the highest position so far in this race of 5th position. Oh, Volcano, he's given up. He's retired from the race. Volcano is out of this Japanese Grand Prix, and yeah, he's just given up there, it seems. Unfortunate, but look at this huge wobble for Montana. Oh, up the inside goes Mango. That's so risky. Heading through the flat left-hander and in towards the Degner curve. He's not got it done. Montana's still in front of Mango here in 6th position. We're on lap 10 of 27. It's been dramatic so far here in Suzuka. We're not even reached the halfway point. Mango was looking up the inside, and Cucumber still keeping with these guys, even on 9-lap-old soft tyres. You'd expect them to have dropped off by now. Yeah, but they most certainly have not. He's running an excellent race here in Suzuka. Oh, wide goes Mango. He's got to be careful here. His tyres are going to be dropping off as well in this race. He'll be looking to pit in about 3 or 4 laps time, as we see Montana keeping up with Zorzo, but they are... It's crazy, really, because they lost 12.5 seconds because of the virtual safety car mishaps. Spanius overtakes Mavros. They can work together now. It is I suppose you could say, an Eastern European 1, 2, 3, 4. The Swiss man is looking to break the trend. Up to 5th goes Montana. He is up and past Zorzo in 6th position. Zorzo replacing the Spanish driver of Lolo Vera for this evening. And Zorzo, alongside the Swede of Volcano, we're running well in this Grand Prix, but unfortunately we saw the mishap under the virtual safety car, and that saw the retirement of Volcano, which is, it's unfortunate really, but that's how the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. Zorzo looking to re-overtake Montana, but not able to do so here on lap 11, gets agonisingly close into the braking zone. Quite an uncomfortable close, maybe, because one little delay of throttle input for Montana, and Zorzo would have been in the back of him, but they've spaced out a little bit now, 0.3 of a second, separating the two. Gatkovsky has made it a personal mission to catch up to Marius here in this Grand Prix, and he's done so. He has done so. Marius 0.5 ahead of the Polish native. Let's see what Gatkovsky can do then. Heading down towards turn number 1. Here comes the Mercedes. Is he close enough? No, not at this point. Mavros into the pit lane. Early pit stop for the Alpine. Let's see. It's hard tyres for Mavros. Zorzo, is he close enough to attack Montana? Not using his battery. No, not close enough for the time being. Zorzo remains in 5th. Gatkowski getting very close, heading into the Degner curves. .5 separate the two then. Marius leading from Gatkowski. Of course, it was Gatkowski in the lead of this race until he had that disconnect. And Marius has controlled it since. 14.4 seconds separates Spanius and Montana. That's awful for Montana. But here we go then. Oh, look at this. Gatkowski gets close into the Casio triangle. He doesn't go up the inside. The Petronas-sponsored Mercedes just sitting behind the Santander-sponsored Scuderia Ferrari. Here comes Gatkowski, looking to try and overtake the Ferrari, heading down towards turn number 1. He's alongside, in towards the first corner. Is Marius going to try hold around the outside? He absolutely isn't. Gatkowski leads the Japanese Grand Prix. He's up and through, back in the lead of this race as we are almost at the halfway point in this Japanese endeavour. He's up and leads and is going to try pull away from the two Scuderia Ferraris, of course. In Formula 1, Ferrari have not won here since the 2004 Japanese Grand Prix. Selly is into the pit lane, but he's sped in and he's getting a change of tyres. I wonder, is there going to be a retirement here for Selly? Is he going to carry on? Remember, championship leader is Selly. And with no limitless here this evening, there is a big opportunity for a good points finish for Selly. But the race has gone terrible, and when limitless is whatever he's doing, if he notices the results of Selly, he will be he'll not be too happy about it potentially. Or no, sorry, he'll be delighted about it. Selly won't be too happy about it because Limitless will have the psychological advantage heading into next week. But Stefano now looking to try and attack Kingsman for 7th position. The Alpha Tauri in 8th. Marius in 2nd spot, looking to try and overtake Gatkowski for the race lead potentially. Wonder when these two will pit. We can see the mediums can do 12 laps, but not necessarily comfortably. We saw some drivers pit earlier, but that was potentially due to the virtual safety car glitches and stuff. Oh, in comes Spanius. Undercut attempt for Spanius. Zorzo looking to overtake Montana maybe down the main straight. Let's see what the Williams can do down towards turn 1. Oh, a bit of a slide from Montana. He's been struggling with his tyres since that virtual safety car issue. I wonder, is there damage on board the Williams? Is that what happened? Here comes Zorzo looking to take the spot off Montana side by side into the first corner. No longer. Zorzo up onto the podium, 16.3 seconds. That would definitely indicate to me that there is some damage on board these two cars. But we will have to wait and see. Fast lap of the race, VIR dark. At 14 of 27, Montana repasses Zorzo. So something's happened to Zorzo. Not too sure what exactly has happened to Zorzo, but something has certainly happened to him. Apologies, folks, are you not getting any game audio anymore? I'm not too sure if you are getting any game audio. I can only apologise for that if you can't hear the noises of the cars. I'm not too sure why it is not coming through anymore. Hopefully you can still get to hear that, which I do apologise for. I'm not sure how long that issue has been here, but hopefully you can we can get you some car engine noises back soon. Here comes Marius, 10th of a second behind Gatkowski. Couldn't quite retake the lead of this race. Apologies, folks. Still trying to fix the engine noise issue for you, but unfortunately it's just stopped working and there's no game audio coming through. As we have a couple of pitters now. Kingsman, Stefano and Lazier into the pit lane. That is the Red Bull, the AlphaTauri and the Haas all in for a fresh set of boots. 0.5 of a second separates Gatkowski and Marius. Let's run on board with the Ferrari heading for the first sector. Or the middle sector. And that was the issue, folks. Remember that notification we saw earlier? That was telling us that there's no engine noises anymore, pretty much. There we go. That should be fixed for you now, folks. As we ride on board with Marius again. That is, yeah, that's all fixed. We have some audio levels coming through. I didn't know that was a thing on the controller, but here we go. Gwiatkowski into the pit lane. Let's see what the Mercedes goes for. Surely a set of mediums to the end of this race. He's gone longer than he may have first would have liked. But tyre advantage. Oh, it's a slow stop. Oh, it's a very slow stop. Oh no, he's okay. Just into the issues for the pit lane. But yeah, that could have been an agonisingly slow stop for Gwiatkowski. But it wasn't. And here comes Marius and Spanius. Where are they coming out? They come out ahead of Gwiatkowski. He's in 5th, but he's on better tyres. Mavros on the worst tyres of this front crew once they all make their pit stops. But that's a tough pill to swallow for Montana because he's only 1.7 seconds ahead without a pit stop made yet. So that's unfortunate for the Williams, but that's how it's gone since the virtual safety car. Kinksman picks up a 3-second time penalty as Spanius sets a purple sector too. So Spanius running well. Could Ferrari have their winner since Michael Schumacher around Suzuka here in Flashpoint Racing League? We will have to wait and see. But it's looking good, maybe, for Spanius here. But of course, remember, Gwiatkowski will have the best tyres till the end of this race. And the Ferrari will be looking to capitalise on having that car of Mavros in between himself and Gwiatkowski. Surely Marius slides and slides into the pit lane. Let's see where he comes out in relation to Spanius and Gwiatkowski. He's going to come out behind Spanius and behind Mavros potentially. But what sort of an outlap did Gwiatkowski produce? These guys are coming up behind Montana. Montana bails into the pit lane. Here is Marius on pit exit. You can see in the background Spanius just rounding through the final corner. Here comes Marius out of pit lane. You should be able to see him on your left hand side. There he is. He's going to come out behind everyone. He's going to come out in 4th. As that is Marius out in 4th spot, 1.7 seconds behind Gwiatkowski. The Mercedes is up and into 3rd spot now, and wow, that's a huge gap between Gwiatkowski and Marius just from one lap of an undercut. Huge margin. Gwiatkowski in 3rd, Marius in 4th. That's crazy. Crazy undercut from Gwiatkowski on Marius. And the good news for Spanius is Gwiatkowski's not really catching Mavros. He's not really catching Mavros here, and the Mercedes is in... No, he's catching him now. I was going to say he's in the spot of Potter, but no, he is catching him now. He's got 0.4 of a second since we started this sentence. He is most certainly catching him now and heading down towards 130 or. This is going well for the Mercedes. He will be looking to lead this race fairly soon. Bit wide in the Casio triangle for Mavros. Bit of a slide. Gwiatkowski might be looking to capitalise on that. He's on the battery. He's using all his tools. Fast lap of the Grand Prix for Gwiatkowski. Here he comes up the inside of the Greek driver of Mavros. Gwiatkowski is in the lead of this Grand Prix. It's got to be between himself and Spanius. It seems like Marius just went too late and now can't get his car hooked up. And he's 3 seconds adrift of Mavros. Gwiatkowski seems to have pitted the perfect lap here to have tyre advantage to the end, but still provide and still put himself in a good spot in this Grand Prix. Igor Jelen in the wall at the final corner, and into the pit lane goes Igor Jelen. His car is moving. If it wasn't moving, that would have most certainly brought out a safety car. Spanius in the lead of this race. Gwiatkowski in second. Igor Jelen retires from the Grand Prix, unfortunately. One Mercedes fighting for the win, the other out of the race, and Mercedes going to look to score good points in the form of Gwiatkowski, but they're not going to score a double points finish. here in the championship, which is unfortunate for them, unfortunate for our Iger Jelen. Of course, that Mercedes team does sit 4th in the Constructors' standings. Constructors' Championship really close between all teams. Here comes Gwiatkowski. The Polishman is looking for the race lead, heading through 130 or is he going to get it into the Casio Triangle? No, he sits behind for the time being. This is the exact same move he did earlier on Spanius' teammate Marius. Just sat behind into the triangle, got the exit out at 18 and 19, and now he's going to blast past on the main straight. Spanius doesn't defend the inside. Gwiatkowski is up and into the lead of the Flashpoint Tier 1 Japanese Grand Prix, and he's up and through. Good move from Gwiatkowski in the end. Timed it well, didn't risk it into the Casio Triangle. And he got the job done in the end of the race. And lap 19 at the 27th, Gwiatkowski is most certainly the favourite for the win now, but Marius catching pretty quickly. I have a feeling this is going to be between Gwiatkowski and Marius for this race win, but you more likely than not would pick Gwiatkowski for this one. Here comes Marius catching Mavros, the Greek driver versus the Cypriot. They've raced a couple times here this evening. We're going to do it again, heading towards 130R. Does Marius have the exit to try the unbelievable? Heading through 130R, he's going for it. Is it the Ferrari? Is he going for it? No, he's going to sit behind. It was, of course, a Renault and a Ferrari. When Fernando Alonso did the move, it's an Alpine and a Ferrari, but an Alpine, of course, owned by the Renault Group. Marius couldn't go for it. He's trying the Gwiatkowski move down towards turn number 1. You can see Gwiatkowski sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, leads by 1.7 seconds. Marius is up to the podium. Ferrari have 2 cars on the podium in the form of Spanius and Marius. What can Marius do now until the end of the race? That's the question. He's got to catch and pass his teammate Spanius first, who's not on the worst tyres in this field. Mavros certainly is on a lot worse than our top 3. But I think the race win could be gone. His outlap, he pit a lap too late and his outlap wasn't good enough, I don't think, Marius, if he wanted to win this race, but we will wait and see. VIR Dark on a bit of a comeback drive. He's looking to overtake Cucumber for 5th spot. Of course, those who made an early pit stop would have been a beneficiary from the virtual safety car shenanigans. VIR Dark is certainly one of those beneficiaries, and he is in 6th position in this race. Montana on the softs still has a good chance of getting maybe a top 5 in this race. He's only 1.8 seconds adrift of 5th, so could certainly do that. Marius now within DRS of his teammate Spanius, and the only problem here for Marius is they're both falling back to Gwiatkowski, not just Spanius. They both are. Heading in towards the final parts of this race. This race has almost reached a conclusion. It's Gwiatkowski who leads ahead of Spanius and Marius, and if you're enjoying the action here on Flashpoint Tier 1, it's good to see you all still enjoying the action. Make sure you do pop a subscription on the stream chat. And make sure you do like the stream as well. 2 Ferraris. It is multi-21 sort of situation, or Fernando is faster than you, as Ferrari would say. Marius is let through by Spanius. One Cypriot assisting another, and Marius is now poised with the challenge of catching and passing the speedy Polishman of Gwiatkowski. Heading into the final parts of this race, Marius might find that fairly difficult. I say that, he's catching pretty quickly, so this could be very good for Marius. Gatkowski has such a pace deficit that he has now. Of course, though, remember we said we noticed Gatkowski was running way more downforce. He's going to be much better for the first and second sectors. So sector 3, though, Marius is going to be clawing in. Realistically, what the two Ferraris can do here is tow each other onto the back of Gatkowski. Oh, here we go, Montana. Montana with a double overtake, I think, in towards the first corner. I do apologise for not catching that one, folks. Just was fixing a mic issue. Montana overtakes Dark and Cucumber into the first corner. Montana's becoming a bit of his old self since onto that soft tyre. Gap at the front 2 seconds between Gatkowski and Marius. Stefano on the back of Kingsman. Here, he's 0.3 of a second back. That's the battle for 11th. Gap now 1.7 up the front. You know, I might have written off Marius a little bit too early in this Grand Prix. He certainly stands a chance of winning this race still. This one's not over if your name is Marius. There's good pace in that Ferrari. That tyre advantage is huge. And he's gaining on the race leader. Gatkowski was 2.3 seconds in front this time last time round. That's 0.6 of a second by my books. If he can repeat that till the end of the race, he might just have a chance. And remember, things get significantly easier once he gets within that 1 second window, because he will start getting the benefits of DRS, of slipstream, and he might just win this race. You know, he may just win his race. There is the penalty count. It's 3 for Zorzo, 6 for Mango, 5 for Selly, and 3 for Kingsman, meaning Selly would only be scoring a solitary point at this time in the championship. Zorzo falls behind Mango. Just to remind you, the championship standings, there they are on your screen, folks, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Cucumber is in 7th. He would overtake Limitless. Limitless, obviously not being here, would still lose out to Selly, even though it would just be 1 point, and Limitless would not mind that at all, of course. 1.5 now the gap between Gatkowski and Marius. Marius arguably not closing at quick enough at a rate. 0.6 initially once he got unleashed from Spanius, but only 2 on this lap. Battle rages on for 11th between Kingsman, Lazier and Stefano. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Fair play to Walcott, by the way, as well. No matter what's happened to in this race, he's carried on. So fair play to Walcott for that one. 1.6 the gap between Gatkowski and Marius. Marius has extended the gap now. I think Marius's purple patch has ended, and the Mercedes can comfortably bring this one home to the finish. Selly overtakes Mango for 9th. That could be a crucial move for Selly's championship, but has a mistake heading for the final corner, and the Aston Martin Zorzo tows Mango down the main straight. Here they go, look at this, it's going to be building to a crescendo in towards turn number 1. Who's going to go for it? The AlphaTauri round the outside of the Aston Martin. He tried it, could not get it done, and huge tank slapper for Zorzo in the exit of turn 2. Oh, that was risky. That was really, really risky from Selly, and he could not get the job done. Selly remains in 9th. Zorzo remains in 8th position. Lap 24-27. Marius 1.5 behind Gatkowski for the lead of this race. .5 seconds separates the two once again as they head towards the start-finish line. Marius is no longer catching Gatkowski. Gatkowski has played his cards excellently here, and maybe Marius just used a bit too much of his battery to get within that 1.5 seconds. Battle rages on between the bad tyre crew, because Montana in 5th, Dark in 6th, Cucumber in 7th, all on quite old tyres now, and you can see in the background as well, Selly looking for the move on Zorzo in towards turn number 1. He's got the job done. The Aston Martin sat behind the AlphaTauri now for 8th position. Selly gets another couple of points here in the championship permutations. Marius still not catching Gapkovsky enough. That 0.6 of a second lap seems to be all that he had in him. He hasn't really been able to catch at that rate, and lap time is running out for Marius. He's running out of time to try and win this Grand Prix. But still, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. Battle then for 6th spot between Dark and Cucumber. And Montana. Cucumber, of course, fighting for every point to try overtake Limitless and Selly in the championship. He won't be overtaking Selly today, but will be overtaking Limitless. As yellow flag in sector number 1, and that's Walcott, who's gone round heading for the Dunlop curb. Look at this for the battle for 5th spot. You can see Dark got a try to the inside of Oh! Oh, just stops heading into the braking zone, did the McLaren, and that's sort of brake checked Cucumber. He's very lucky to get away without wing damage there. That was a really weird incident between Dark and Cucumber, but Montana's just falling by the wayside on those soft compounded tyres. The Williams now in 7th on the softs. It's not been the greatest return for Montana to Flashpoint. Gap 1.4 up the front. Gantkovsky, or Marius I should say, has to try and catch Gantkovsky by about 0.4 of a second before we start the final lap, otherwise he won't get DRS. They're both burning an awful lot of battery here, and this is getting oh so close. 1.2. If he could somehow find those 0.2 of a second, or if Gantkovsky makes a mistake, he could be in. Walcott gonna retire from the race, presumably. Or go for a fastest lap attempt either. 1.4. No, Gantkovsky's got the exit. And there's a feeling Gantkovsky might just be home and dry here in this one. The 2 Ferraris could go scrapping for 2nd and 3rd. That would be a disaster if they came to blows. Zorzo picks up a 3-second time penalty. Starting the final lap of proceedings here, it's Gantkovsky who leads ahead of Marius and Spanius in 2nd and 3rd. Here comes Spanius. He wants the spot back. He led his teammate through to try and charge down Gantkovsky. His teammate couldn't do it, so Spanius re-overtakes here. As the 2 Ferraris now sit 2nd and 3rd. Still, but in reverse positions. Spanius 2nd. Marius 3rd. It's an Alpine 4-5 because Cucumber is overtaken Dark. That's a good move. And Zorzo, we overtake Selly. Crucial for the championship, that one. Zorzo up to 8th spot, but both have time penalties, so we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. 1.3 seconds the gap now between Gantkovsky and Spanius, but you have a feeling that this one is done for Gantkovsky. Heading in towards Spoon Curve for the final time. We're in the final sector. Almost in the final sector for the final time, I should say. 1.1 now. Spanius is getting closer than Marius was, to be fair. That's the closest that a Ferrari has been to Gantkovsky since Gantkovsky retook the lead of the race from Mavros. But here we go then. Through 1:30 over the final time. Gantkovsky is almost home and dry. Yellow flag in sector 2. That is for an Alpine, I believe. Oh no, it's for Walcott. Here comes Gantkovsky heading into the Casio Triangle. The 2 Ferraris are still fighting in this one. It's pole to win for Gantkovsky, but it most certainly was not simple. The Polishman wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Here for Mercedes. Ferrari come home 2nd and 3rd. They're missing out on the win once again, and Mavros is out of race fuel. That's what the yellow flag is for. The Greek driver of Mavros ran out of fuel. He had an 8-second lead on Cucumber in 4th. And he's out of fuel. Crucially, can he stay in front of Selly? No, he can't. Is he gonna drop out of the points? No, he'll bring home a solitary point in 10th. No, he's gonna jump up to 7th because of unserved penalties. Mavros up to 7th, but he could have got so much better than that. And he's retired from the race now, but that's not going to matter. I believe he still will get 7th. Oh, crazy. Crazy scenes here in Flashpoint, but it's Gantkovsky who takes the race win. These are full race results then from Flashpoint. It is Gatkowski who takes the race win ahead of Spanius and Marius in second and third. Fast lap of the race for Gatkowski as well, meaning 26 points is his tally for this evening. The Canadian, a cucumber, comes home in fourth, Dark in fifth. I think that's the first ever Polish, Cyprus, Canadian, German top 5 I've ever commentated on. But you know, every day is a school day. Montana 6, Selly 7, Zorzo in 8th, Lazier in 9th, Mango 10th, Stefano 11th, Kingsman 12th, Mabros 13th, Walcott 14th. Your non-finishers were Igergellan, Volcano, Stelius, Rudy and Fight Me Now. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all we do have time for here in Flashpoint Racing League. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Evan Dalton. Stay safe, stay well, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.